The January 2nd, 2020 reorganization meeting of the Woodbridge Township Board of Education will please come to order. Please rise for a salute to the flag and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll go on to the roll call. Ms. Anderson?
Here.
Ms. Bourdain?
Here.
Mr. Della Pietro?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Molnar?
Here.
Mr. Sedana?
Here.
Mr. Tamburello?
Here.
Mr. Treebwasser?
Here.
And Mr. Velez.
Here.
I will now present the Open Public Meetings Law. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted as follows. January 4th, 2019, and December 16th, 2019, faxed to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Municipal Clerk's Office, posted in the Avenel Middle School and the Board of Education Administration Building. I'd like to give a special public notice. A special meeting of the Woodbridge Township Board of Education is scheduled to be held on Thursday, January 9th, convening at 6 p.m. in Conference Room A of the Board's administrative offices, located at 428 School Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey. The Board will immediately retire to closed session. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss personnel matters. No formal action will be taken. The results of the November 5th, 2019 school board election are as follows. The Board of Education candidates for 3-year terms: Ashkar Sedana, 6,538, Jonathan Treebwasser, 7,172, Joseph Velez, 7,481. Congratulations on your re-elections. It is my honor to administer the oath of office to our re-elected board members. Mr. Treebwasser, will you please join me at the podium? If any family members came to join you, they are welcome to come too.
Stand here. Or can I stand?
Into that microphone. Please raise your right hand. Do you, Jonathan Treebwasser, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help you God?
I do.
Do you, Jonathan Treebwasser, solemnly swear that you possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that you are not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19-4-1, nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJS 18A 12-1, and that you will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I will.
Congratulations. Thank you. Mr. Sedana, will you please come up? If any of your family would like to join us, please come to the podium. Thank you. Please raise your right hand. Do you, Akshar Sedana, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help you God?
I do.
Do you, Akshar Sedana, solemnly swear that you possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that you are not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19-4-1, nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJS 18A 12-1, and that you will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of your ability?
I do.
Congratulations. Mr. Velez, would you like to join us in your Please raise your right hand. Do you, Joseph Velez, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people? So help you God.
I do.
Do you, Joseph Velez, solemnly swear that you possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that you are not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19-4-1, nor disqualified due to a conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJS 18A 12-1, and that you will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of your ability? So help you God.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Once again, congratulations to Mr. Sedana, Mr. Truebwasser, and Mr. Velez. Do I have a nomination for the office of President of the Woodbridge Township Board of Education for the 2020 term?
Mr. Wolferman,
Mr. Molnar.
it gives me great pleasure to not put into the name for nomination of President of the Woodbridge Township Board of Education, Frank Delapietro. 3 times I had the honor and pleasure of running with Mr. Delapietro for a seat on this Board of Education, and I got to witness firsthand how much he loves Woodbridge and how hard of a worker he is. Frank has spent his whole entire life in public service, many years with the Fords Fire Department, not only protecting the lives but the property of the residents of Fords and Woodbridge Township. He's been an outstanding board member. He's not afraid to take on hard issues. He is an incredible advocate for the students, the faculty, the parents, and he is a voice for the residents of Woodbridge Township, and it gives me great honor to nominate Frank Delapietro for president.
Thank you, Mr. Molnar. Do I have a second?
Mr. Wolferman.
Mr. Tamburello.
Mr. Wolferman, it gives me equal pleasure to second the nomination for Frank Delapietro, a board member, longtime board member, who is certainly ready for the challenge. And again, it gives me great pride to second that nomination. I think Frank is going to do a great job in 2020 for the Woodbridge Township School District.
Thank you, Mr. Tamburello. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close nominations?
So motion?
Motion by Mr. Molnar. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Tamburello. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nominations are now closed. I will perform a roll call. Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain.
Yes.
Mr. Delapietro.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Mr. Sedana.
Yes.
Mr. Tamburello.
Yes.
Mr. Truebwasser.
Yes.
Mr. Velez.
Yes.
I would like now to turn the meeting over to our new president, Mr. Frank Delapietro.
I'd like to thank my fellow board members for having the confidence and faith in selecting me tonight to be your president for 2020. I'm looking forward to the challenges. We have a busy year. I think we have a great team. I'd also like to thank congratulate the mayor on his reelection. We have an excellent relationship between the board and the mayor and his administration, and we definitely want to continue that. We go to all these meetings and we hear, how Woodbridge is on the map as far as with communication with the town, with shared services. So we want to definitely continue that, and I'd like to thank the mayor for all his support. I'd like to congratulate AJ, Mr. Velez, and Mr. Truebwasser on their reelection for another 3 years. I look forward to working with you all again. With that, we'll move on. Are there any nominations for the position of Vice President?
Mr. President.
Mr. Truebwasser?
Thank you, Mr. President. It is with great pleasure and honor that I would like to recommend Marie Anderson. I've worked with Marie for the past going on 6 years as a board member. She has an outstanding and proven track record as a leader in the private sector. She has a wealth of knowledge in development of staff and personnel, and she is truly representative of our community. And I think most importantly of all, not only is her character, her honor and integrity second by none, she is also a great example for the female constituents of our township to have someone of Marie's caliber represent our community. So for that, I nominate Marie Anderson as Vice President.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for the office of Vice President? Oh, I need a second.
Mr. President, I would like to second that motion. I've been on the board now 4 years with Marie. I know her work ethic. I repeat what Mr. Treebosser just went over. He stole all my bullet points. But I know Marie, and I know she'll do a fantastic job.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Velez. Are there any other nominations for the office of Vice President? Okay, would someone like to make the motion to close nominations?
I make a motion to approve Ms. Anderson for the position of Vice President.
Okay. Roll call, Mr. Secretary? Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call?
All in favor?
Aye.
A roll call now. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain?
Yes.
Mr. Delapietro?
Yes?
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar,
Yes.
Mr. Sedana?
Yes.
Mr. Tamburello?
Yes.
Mr. Treebosser?
Yes.
And Mr. Velez.
Yes.
Okay, policy and planning, Mr. Harris?
Mr. President?
Yes? Oh, okay, Ms. Anderson.
Thank you. Good evening, my fellow board members, members of Central Administration, and members of the Woodbridge community. It is with great honor that I accept your nomination as Board Vice President. I would like to thank my family. Tonight, my husband Jim, my son Donovan, and my mother-in-law Jackie are here with me tonight. I am grateful for their love and support, and I would not be able to do this job without it. To our immediate past president, Mr. Treatweiser, our district has made great strides under your leadership, and I thank you for your support. President Delapietro, I'm proud to serve with you. Thank you to my fellow board members for your vote of confidence in me. I will work hard to achieve our mission. The education of our students is our higher purpose. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Our children's future depends on their education, and I'm willing to do my part to make our schools the best they can be. I'm committed to moving our district forward through our equity initiatives, which will open doors of opportunities for our diverse students. Our schools need to be a place where our beloved children can dream, and most importantly, believe those dreams are within reach. I will continue our collaborative, successful relationship with Mayor McCormick and the Town Council, as we are a model for other towns in the state. I thank the Woodbridge community for supporting me, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you, and may God bless you in the United States of America.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Policy and planning, Mr. Harris?
Thank you, Mr. President. The Policy and Planning Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, recommends the following 7 items. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, are there any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, any comments or questions from the public? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Secretary?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar,
Yes.
Mr. Sedana?
Yes.
Mr. Tamburello?
Yes.
Mr. Treebosser?
Yes.
Mr. Velez?
Yes.
And Mr. Delapietro?
Yes. Okay, finance and insurance, Mr. Tamburello?
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance and Insurance Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and Business Administrator Board Secretary, presents the following one item. This evening, I move for the adoption of the foregoing one item.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any comments or questions from the board? Seeing,
Mr. President?
Mr. Harris?
Thank you for the opportunity. I just wanted to highlight this for the public, those especially watching at home, because I think most of us in the room are familiar with this. This one item we're moving tonight for the Finance and Insurance Finance and Insurance Committee. This particular resolution is to seek state debt service for a potential bond referendum to be scheduled for March the 10th. So there's another exciting partnership between the school board and the administration over at Town Hall and the mayor. So we're very much looking forward to this outstanding opportunity of a future bond referendum coming our way. So thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to highlight that very exciting opportunity.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Are there any questions or comments from the public?
Actually, Mr. Board President, if I can elaborate with Mr. Harris, in the next weeks and months, you will be hearing a lot about this proposal and the referendum, so be on the lookout. The board will be out in full force, the township and the mayor and the council will also be out there with this proposal, and it's certainly a positive step forward for this district, and we're looking forward campaigning very hard for this referendum over the next weeks and months. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Tamburello. Are there any comments or questions from the public? Okay, seeing none, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Bourdain?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Mr. Sedana?
Yes.
Mr. Tamburello?
Yes.
Mr. Treebwasser?
Yes.
Mr. Velez?
Yes.
Mr. Delapietro?
Yes. Okay, in keeping with our past practice, we'll open this portion of the meeting for statements from the public. If you wish to say something, please come to the microphone, provide your name, the area of the township where you reside for the record, and please limit your comments to no more than 5 minutes in accordance with Regulation 1100D. Seeing no one from the public, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, ayes carry it. Meeting's adjourned.